Content profiling. The concept of content profiling is to distinguish the different types of content and the processes we consider best to use. The pyramid graphic you already briefly saw in the theory module of this course is a great representation of this process. This graphic is also available to download for your future reference. The purpose of this pyramid is to help break down and contextualize the content types and corresponding processes that best fit what is expected or required by the client. Content profiling is a very useful way of being able to specifically identify the content requiring transcreation or another linguistic practice. And having a clear understanding of the pyramid may also help your decision-making around the costs for each process. Look carefully at the pyramid. You'll see there are three main labels at the top. Those are content type, localization process, and review. These are labels for the three sections of the pyramid. There are then four parameters running vertically beside the pyramid. The first one is volume, from low to high. This represents the amount of actual content there is in terms of words, paragraphs, and/or pages. Then there is the creativity required, running from low creativity at the bottom of the pyramid to high creativity at the top. The third parameter is automation. This explains that there is potentially a lot of automation at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of technology or tools, and lots of processing, and less human intervention. At the top, there is a low-level automation, meaning greater human intervention, greater creativity, and less automation. Last but not least is branding, indicating how important branding is within the content. At the top of this parameter, there is a high amount of branding and an important aspect of the company's requirement to sell or market the product relies on their brand. At the bottom, the opposite is required, purely informative or for internal use content with little to no branding elements. Keep these parameters in mind when considering the content types and processes. Next, there are 5 tranches of the pyramid representing different kinds of content. Each type of content has a different purpose and motivation when being created. There are also different potential processes for making each of these multilingual. The first tranche, at the bottom of the pyramid, is internal information and knowledge bases. This is high-volume content with low amounts of creativity. A cost-effective and appropriate process for translating this type of content is machine translation. And because this information is often internal or for information only, there is the option to use it raw, which means no review. The second type of content is made up, for example, of interfaces, strings, technical and/or assisting documentation. This can be done by human translation using technology such as translation memory software, or TMs, and other computer-aided translation tools, CAT for short. For this content type, machine translation is being used more and more, depending on the degree of MT maturity level into a specific language. In this case, MT would most likely be used in combination with either light or full human post-editing, possibly combined with more extensive LQA steps, linguistic quality assurance. Next is the third level, general content, and this might be found in brochures, websites, and general market-related information. Again, the process most often used here is human translation using CAT technology, and nowadays this often includes built-in MT plugins. In the case of light creative content, marketing translation would be the most appropriate choice. There are different levels of review that can apply here, depending on factors like time, budget, and critical considerations. Some of the most common review options in this case would be translation only, or TP, translation and proofreading, TEP, translation, editing and proofreading, and or a more general LQA step, linguistic quality assurance, ranging from the most extensive review options to highly specific ones. The fourth type of content is influential content. This is essentially marketing content that is designed to help sell or market the product or service, and is found in and around the point of sale or on websites and advertisements. The most appropriate process here is often transcreation. The review phase here would therefore focus not only on the classic source-target correspondence, but mainly on how well the target mirrors the brief and its desired effect. That's why transcreated content doesn't have LQA in a classic sense, but the review is normally performed by local market experts who are more equipped to evaluate its impact on the target audience. Finally, we have the very high brand sensitive material that is the most influential content. Here the requirement is for impact and brand recognition using multilingual copywriting. The process is very different to the linguistic transformations of the first four tranches. In this process, there is no source. The content is created multilingually from the campaign requirements and market research. Here, the review step would focus on the copywriting output resonance and/or impact with the target audience. And just as for transcreated content, it will most likely be performed by market experts.